Hey everyone, Mr. Michelson here. Of course, I'm not here today, but make sure that we know what we're doing here. I'm just going to introduce a few things to you today and get you started. You probably have heard of this author, Susan Collins. She was born in 1962 and still with us today, thankfully. She graduated from Indiana State University and wrote for several shows at the children's television network Nickelodeon, which maybe you're familiar with as well. She sold well over 100 million copies of her books so far in her lifetime, including her first series, The Underland Chronicles. But of course, you might know her better for something called The Hunger Games, which is a dystopian novel set in fictional Panem, which is all that remains of the post-apocalyptic North America in the not-too-distant future. In punishment for a failed uprising, the government annually requires each of the 12 districts of Panem to choose one boy or one girl to go to the capital, where they must participate in a televised battle to the death. At the selection ceremony for District 12, 16-year-old Katniss is horrified by a selection for which she was not prepared. And you'll see that scene here today in just a little bit. A little bit more about dystopian fiction. This is fiction that takes place in the future that has gone bad. They can often be read as a warning for contemporary readers about what might happen if society continues to act in ways contrary to the author's ethos. Famous dystopian novels include 1984, Brave New World, and The Giver. Giver is a great 7th grade text if you want to check it out from the library. The Hunger Games is the first book in the dystopian fiction series. It was wildly popular and turned into a set of 4 films released from 2012 to 2015. And together they made almost $500 million at the box office and were generally lauded by critics and fans. Rotten Tomatoes summarizes reactions to the first movie, saying, "The Hunger Games captures the dramatic violence, raw emotion, and ambitious scope of its source novel." So maybe you're familiar with this series. I would guess that you might be, but maybe you haven't read them. So we'll get a chance to look at that today. Not only are we going to read a little bit of the actual Hunger Games book today, but we are going to read something else related by Barry Strauss. He lived, he's born in 1953 and is still with us today. Graduated from Cornell University and is a classics professor at there. Classics is the study of the literature, history, and languages of the ancient world, as well as how those subjects influence and interact with the modern world. There are only a few female warriors or heroes in Greek myth. Atalanta, the famous hero, was a huntress who took part in many of the same adventures as Hercules. The Amazons were a race of warrior women who fought in the Trojan War and were well known for their ferocity and skill. So a little background you might need to know as we get into what Barry Strauss has for us today, which is the classical roots of the Hunger Games. I think you'll kind of get a little better sense of what we're talking about as you get into that today. And we're going to have you read both of these 2 selections in your workbook. You'll see the selection from the Hunger Games novel on page 8, and then what Barry Strauss had to say about the classical roots of the Hunger Games on page 12. We'd like you to read those independently today. And then afterwards, we'll have some writer's notebook time for you. We'll put this slide up there in a second. Just a reminder that when we're writing in a writer's notebook, take your time, explain yourself, focus on your page. Just be quiet as you do that. And we probably can have some time to share once everyone's kind of gotten a chance to do this. So you'll see this in your writer's notebook on Schoology. And again, we'll put this response up there once people have kind of had a chance to read through those 2 texts. You're going to be talking about some elements and themes that create a story that has an abiding interest, thinking about your favorite kind of things. And, you'll get a sense of this as we get into it. So I'll just preview it here, but we'll put it back up on the screen when you're ready for it. And that's kind of what we're doing. So read those 2 texts, please, and then we'll do our writer's notebook. And that's pretty much what we have for you today. If you get done with some time to spare, that can be extra reading time or time to work on anything else for other classes. Thank you so much. Bye.